Hi everyone and welcome back to Geordie Pride, Voices from the Northeast. In the final episode of the season, we sit down with Laura Richards, founder of Idea Junkies and a Northeast native. We chat all about the fast evolving world of artificial intelligence, where Laura shares her story from growing up in Whitley Bay, teaching herself AI and building her business to support others and harnessing their big ideas. In this chat, we talk about the daunting challenges of AI in our everyday lives and businesses, from the way it's changing jobs to the unexpected ways it can help entrepreneurs and creatives. You'll also hear what makes the Northeast tech scene unique, Laura's hopes for AI opportunities in the region, and of course we have plenty of giggles along the way as well. But before you dive in, Angela and I just want to say a huge thank you to all of our guests for their time and conversations over the past few months in order to make season 2 a reality. We have loved connecting with you all and having a bit of fun along the way. And of course, thank you to all of you listening as well. I love hearing your feedback about what you've enjoyed listening to. We will be looking for guests for season 3 very soon, so connect with us on Instagram at Geordie Pride. Drop me a DM and I will get back to you. So for the last time for season 2, grab yourself a cuppa and enjoy listening to the wonderful Laura Richards. You're listening to Geordie Pride, Voices from the Northeast. I'm Hayley, and alongside my cousin Angela, we're thrilled to bring you the stories that share the heart and soul of the Northeast of England. Each episode, we'll dive into the lives of extraordinary Geordies and those who call the Northeast home, exploring their journeys and celebrating their achievements. From the time to the teas, from the arts to the sports fields, we're here to share the tales of passion, resilience, and of course, Geordie Pride. So whether you're from Whitley Bay or Washington, Gateshead or Gisborough, or you're just fascinated by the spirit of the Northeast, join us as we natter with the best the Northeast has to offer. Hi Laura, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I am very excited to chat tonight.
So let's dive straight in. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and your background in the Northeast, where you're from?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Laura Richards. I run an agency called Idea Junkies, and I help people with big ideas turn them into a reality, get them out in the world, get them in front of the people that need to hear them. And I'm a Northeast native, born and bred in Whitley Bay, and I did what I think is quite a classic thing. Sort of hit 18, decided that I was absolutely far too big for the Northeast and bored of living here, and I needed to go and explore the big wide world. So I moved to London, then travelled for a couple of years, Australia, Southeast Asia, anywhere that wasn't home, before realising that I wanted to be back in the Northeast. So I've been back over a decade now. Yeah, just like very, very happy to be back, to be building a business here, to be sort of giving back a little bit, hopefully.
Brilliant. So what made you come back to the Northeast? Like, because you say Australia and Southeast Asia, that sounds amazing to me. I mean, I love the Northeast, but I can't imagine the compare.
Yeah, so it was a combination of family stuff going on. So I had an auntie who had pancreatic cancer and was diagnosed not long after I'd left the UK. So there was some sort of a big pull to come back and be around family. And so it was about the same time that I had moved. So I got my early career, I was in broadcast media. So I worked in television, film and TV. And whilst I was traveling, I'd sort of discovered this world of communications and PR and like professional storytelling, and decided that I wanted to sort of shift my career a little bit. So I came back to study for a master's, and I did that at Newcastle University. So it was that combination of wanting to be home, wanting to be around family, and then actually having this amazing opportunity to come back and learn something new.
Wow. So, Laura, tell us a bit more about Idea Junkies, because it's obviously you're saying that you want to help people and things like that. What sort of things do you help people with?
Yeah, so I still do a little bit of the sort of the traditional marketing and PR for people. So if you've got something that you're launching, if you've got a campaign you want to run, so I can help with that. But actually, over the last few years, I've doing far more work around helping people get to grips with technologies like artificial intelligence and other emerging technologies. So I think most people now will I think accept that AI is here. It's a pretty big deal. It is changing a lot of things, and it's changing them very, very quickly. And I think actually both in our personal lives and particularly in business, people are really struggling. So what I do is help particularly business leaders figure out, where does AI sit in their day job, in their teams, in the work that they're doing, and how can they do that in a way that still feels like they're protecting their people and behaving in a way that feels responsible.
Sounds fantastic. I wish I had your brain, to be fair. I'm useless for things like that.
You know what? That's one of the things that I hear most often from people. Like, oh, I'm not technical, and I think neither was I. I haven't studied computer science. I haven't got a professional developer background. Everything I know is self-taught, and actually, this is one of the things I think we need more people, more non-technical people, to be thinking about AI and be thinking about how we want to use it as a society. Because what you don't want is just a very, very small group of people, sort of very, very smart people, but it's a very specific group of people at the moment that are building these tools and these systems that we're all using, and that we're going to continue to use more and more. So I have this conversation a lot with people that are saying, oh, look, actually, I'm not technical, I don't know where to start. And that's where actually I think the biggest opportunity is, that we all need to be taking part in these conversations, because very genuinely, I don't think there's going to be a part of our lives that isn't affected by AI over the next decade.
Is it things like new businesses that you help with? So like, say, I don't know, they want help with Instagram and posts and blogs and AI use and stuff like that. Is it generally that, or is it a broad spectrum of clientele that you have, or?
Yeah, so I do still do some sort of hands-on helping people get there sort of with their storytelling, if that's social media or working with journalists or content sort of more broadly. But actually it's more strategic than that. So it's about actually thinking as a business, where are we spending most of our time? Where do we have the biggest headaches? And where are the biggest opportunities? If we did more of something, where would we be able to create new jobs, sell more products, whatever that might be? So it's thinking about the business as a whole, and then figuring out where AI sits with that.
Like, what do you? Because I use like different forms of AI. Like, I know there's like ChatGPT, Gemini, and all. There's so many different things out there, and they're all embedded in all the programs that we use now. Isn't it? It's just like it's everywhere, but it feels like it's come really quick. It's like, if you think maybe like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, like I wouldn't have been using anything like that, and it's changed so quickly. Like, I can't, like, how do you see in like 5-10 years time how we're going to be using AI, because how much we rely on it now in just that short period? Like, where do you think we'll go over the next few years with it?
So I am not arrogant enough to think that I've got any idea about any accurate predictions on what the future looks like. I think that anyone who's claiming that, unless they are like Nobel Prize winning scientists, it's probably a little bit premature to be able to predict. The biggest shift and the reason why AI feels like it's everywhere at the moment is because of the development and the launch of these large language models. So that this is the sort of the code that underpins and makes things like ChatGPT work. And it's that chat interface, it's that ability for us to use what feels like WhatsApp with an AI system. And that's why it's everywhere. That's why they're in our phones and emails and all the rest of it. That is very exciting, but actually I'm for me, and I'm not the only person, much smarter people than I are also predicting that actually chatbots this is only the starting point. How we interact with AI is going to change in the future. We're seeing a lot of quite interesting work at the moment around AI systems that are going to talk just to other AI systems. So actually, as users, as an example, if you were to book a holiday, you might not actually do any of the booking yourself. You might have an AI agent that talks to a travel agent's AI agent, and the two systems just talk to each other and get it figured out for you. So there's a lot of things that are developing so quickly that I don't know. I don't think anyone can predict accurately what the next 5-10 years looks like. But what I will say is, it is here to stay. There's no no kind of winding back AI. This is going to be, it's going to be everywhere. It's going to become so normal and so embedded in devices, in software, in the tools that we use, which again is why I think it's really important that everybody does figure it out and people do have the opportunity to learn, and that it's not just a whole lot of like really techie language and technical courses online and things like that, that there needs to be space for all of us to figure out how we want to use it.
Do you think we'll ever get to the point where we'll not be talking to each other, we'll just be talking to bots?
So I think I'm probably quite a natural optimist. So I think what we tend to see with any big trend is there's a bit of a pendulum swing. So the more, right now we're in this era, this period where everyone's looking for how do we get a bot, how do we get an AI system to do this thing for us. It'll swing back. Well, actually, I think I'm expecting that we're going to see this sort of human premium to come about, where people start paying more for stuff that's been made by humans. We value human output and human creativity more. And we're going to see more and more people craving in-person, face-to-face, sort of real-life experiences. And I think that's quite exciting, because it's great that we can have these, like here, we can have these conversations online, but actually, I think a lot of us are missing and are craving that real kind of those real physical experiences. So optimistically, I'd like to think that AI is going to be able to automate a lot of the stuff we don't want to spend our time doing, which should hopefully, in this beautiful utopia that I'm picturing, mean that we all have loads more time to do the stuff that we do want to do, and to get out in the world and to feel the grass under our feet and the wind in our hair, and actually spend more time with people in real life.
Definitely. Do you think it's a generational thing, Laura? Do you think like the older generation are like, oh, I don't want to try that, or do you want to do with that? Or do you think it's kind of a bit of everybody that wants to try it? Or
so there is definitely, so again, the research suggests that it skews slightly younger in terms of how quickly people are using it, or how ready people are to use it all the time. But as with anything, I think it would be an oversimplification to say once you hit 50, you don't want to use AI. And what I think is really interesting about this,
I'm old. I'm an old girl. I've just turned 50.
Well, so you clearly you do not look it, otherwise I would have not picked 50. What I think about AI, like, which we haven't seen with things like social media, is that it's because it's in all of the devices that people are already using. Actually, I think everyone is going to end up using it quite instinctively. The challenge to get people to use mobile phones has already happened. Like that really isn't that generational. There's not really that big a generational divide around device usage and stuff anymore. So yes, there's definitely a quicker adoption within certain groups, but no, I think this is for everyone. What's interesting, so OpenAI, that launch and own ChatGPT, have just released their online academy, loads of free courses and free resources to help people learn, and not just super technical. They have really introductory courses, but they've actually one of the ones that they've just announced is it's called AI for older users, and it's designed for people.
Oh, Angela, there you go.
Yeah. So I think if again, what I don't want to see is a technology that's being developed where there's no insights from older generations, from different perspectives, we need that diversity of users and that diversity of thought and experience to shape these. Otherwise, they're going to become very, very biased very, very quickly.
Because me personally, I've only ever used it with things like talking to ChatGPT about things, and we've done silly things. I will make images, like my husband did one the other day, where it was like, what would my pets look like as humans? Because there's a little trend going about, so you did a little picture about that. So we've done silly little things like that. But also I've seen, like, because I'm from a scientific background, so my corporate career was as a fragrance designer, and so I'm part of the British Society of Perfumers, and we'd hold events within the fragrance industry. And there was one about a month or so ago, and it's a company that use AI to design fragrances, which I find fascinating, but also quite terrifying at the same time, because the thing that's quite unique about my job is that I've got a trained nose. I use my nose to design fragrances. I've got all this knowledge of country preferences, strengths, and like habits of consumer goods and things like that. And the fact that all of that knowledge can be held in a machine and then they can do my job, it's actually quite scary, isn't it? And I suppose that is one of the things that people panic about AI, is it going to take certain jobs away? But I like what you were saying there about maybe people will just value the in-person stuff more versus something that's come straight from AI, because that's a genuine concern, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got a foot in marketing and PR, right? So the first thing that AI came for was social media content creation. So this has been part of the conversation right from the start of ChatGPT, and that they're very genuinely early on were businesses letting go of their agencies and their freelancers, saying, I'm just going to get ChatGPT to do that. Now, I would be very disappointed in myself if I was replaceable with AI for the work I do. I think I would like to think that I add something that you can't just get out of a machine. And I think using perfume is a great example. There are already people that don't want to pay for the craftsmanship of fragrance development. All of the brands that blatantly flaunt the fact that they're selling dupes of other brands' signature scents, right? And it's fascinating because it's done out and it's no longer an under the table counterfeit sort of label. It's done in the open. It's really blatant, and people celebrate their, like, on TikTok there are people like with millions of viewers celebrating the fact that they found a great dupe for something that would normally cost a lot of money, because there's that craftsmanship and that heritage that goes into it. So like I say, I don't think this is anything new. It's just a new approach or a new technology enabling certain companies to do that. So in the short term, I think there will probably be across all industries, we'll see these kind of novelty products being launched where it's like, oh, AI did everything, and there'll be a high price tag because it's a novelty and it's a bit of a one-off and it's a bit gimmicky maybe. But long term, yeah, there probably will be brands and companies that are like, oh great, we can now turn around a whole bunch of fragrances really quickly, and that means we can sell more and sell cheaper and kind of almost like fast fashion but for perfume. But there are still going to be people that don't want that, because they already value the sort of the signature sense of particular fragrance houses or whatever it might be. So this is what I was saying about that human premium. I think we're going to see probably a bit of a divide, and yes, more mass produced, more AI supported stuff, but equally that people who have a real craft aren't like that's still going to be needed. There's still a value there that people are still going to want to support artisanal products and artisanal processes. So I wouldn't worry. I think your job is safe. I do think that probably there will be, I would say you probably see lots of AI created this perfume over the next couple of years, but it doesn't mean that everybody is going to want something that feels quite synthetic.
It's the same with my job, because I'm a massage therapist, Laura, by day, and I've seen all these, and I've seen all of these little robots. I guess they're robots. The robots that massage and that now. I'm like, oh, so I've got self-checkouts that I whinge and moan on about. Like you've always got to shout for somebody. Look, it's not working, and then it's like, and now they've got blooming massage robots. You're like,
I can't imagine that's overly comfortable. I'm just imagining like the Terminator.
Want your boots and your keys to your motorcycle.
How does it work with like massage oil? Like, does that get into the?
It just looks like a machine. You obviously lie in a bed, and it's like two like things doing that. I'm like, I can do a much better job than that.
Oh no, we need the human touch, Angela.
I know. So I'm thinking, oh.
Talking about the Terminator though, it just like I've got this like fear of like the Terminator coming true, and it's like I feel like the older I'm getting, the more it's happening. I'm like, it's just there's robots coming to life, and it's going to happen anytime, any day. It's going to happen, and it's just a genuine fear of mine. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I think when you look at what's going on, particularly when you look at what's going on, like in the US with tech and politics, and terrifyingly doesn't feel that far, like that big a stretch anymore. So yes, I can see where that fear comes from.
Take me back to the 80s, look, when you had a dial-up phone like that.
Good
The old dial-up internet, that like missing that sound. People that are gonna never gonna know that you had to sit and wait to connect to the internet, and that makes me sound really old because when you were a kid, your parents were always like, "Oh, back in my day." It is terrifying that that pace of change is just getting quicker and quicker.
I know. Well, officially, I can say that. Back in my day, they had dial-up.
Yeah, we've turned into our parents. Like, oh God, depressing, isn't it?
So Laura, I hear that you had twins while you were all doing all of this. So how on earth did you do that, woman?
So that's a funny story. Yes, so I have my twins are just over 2 years old. So beginning of 2023 they were born, and you know what? It was just one of those weird like timings where AI was suddenly getting, like, ChatGPT had launched not long before, and basically the whole Twitter wasn't the cesspit that it is today. Like there was still quite some nice people on Twitter. You could still have like good conversations, and yeah, I had twin boys who didn't sleep. They still don't really sleep, and found myself with a lot of time every night awake when, like, it would be me and one or both of the babies, and it felt like no one else in the world was awake except the Americans, who were just coming online after work at 3 a.m. my time. So I ended up part of this I had a really lovely experience with lots of American nerds getting really excited about what they could do with AI. And like, that's what it was. And people were like sharing things that they built and things that they like were testing, and prompts that they tried and tutorials that they'd listened to or read. And so I was using, if I'm honest, using that as a way to stay sane and to stay awake, because like some nights I wouldn't get to sleep until 5 a.m. So like I needed something. So I'd be sat like for anyone who's had babies. So we were on a triple feeding schedule, but there were twins. So there was like, we're just awake all of the time, and just kind of nerding out on things that you could do with AI. So over the course,
I don't think I'd have the brain power for that. How can you must be intelligent, Laura, because I don't think I could like be awake that long in my brain to process what I was reading.
It was definitely not my like best work, but it was that thing of like, looking back, it was a bit of a clinging to it, because it was like my career was working in the tech sector, and I'd been working with and around startups for a long time. So it was that sort of clinging to something that was familiar when nothing else was. So it was fun. It was a way of staying awake. And over the course of a few months, I sort of realized that I taught myself to build AI powered apps, and from there it was like became quite fun sharing that with other people. So the first thing I built, whilst I was on mat leave, I built an AI powered dream interpreter. So you could put in your dream, tell it what you dreamt the night before, and you'd get this like AI analysis of what it meant. So yeah, there's still people using that today. Like, it's one of the things that I've built that actually people seem to really like.
What's it called, Laura?
Oh, it's called Dreamify, but it's like a private app that I built. Yeah, so yeah, just built a lot of things that no one's ever seen and ever used, that were a lot of rubbish. But that was one that seemed to hit a little sweet spot. So yeah, so it was just, like I say, just kind of fortuitous timing in a way, and then obviously by the time I got back into sort of working after my mat leave, suddenly every business was now sort of panicking about AI, or super excited about AI, but maybe a bit sort of too enthusiastic, and like their CEOs were now writing every piece of internal comms using ChatGPT, and their staff were leaving in droves and all the rest of it. So yeah, just kind of hit that point where I'd managed to learn some stuff that was quite useful to other people when I got back to working. So it's been a lot of fun, if I'm honest. I feel very lucky that I get to talk about AI all the time, and sometimes people even pay me for it, so it's great.
Added bonus.
Where would you even start building an app?
How do you talk to it? Like, because like I know you can do things like, because my husband's a right tech nerd, and he's got like, our house is like a whole smart house, so I can speak to my house and it just does things. But it's like, he's got like a thing where it's like, if this, then that type thing. Is it like that, where you just say, if this happens, then this is kind of the output? Like,
yes, the short answer is yeah. That's an example of conditional logic, which is what powers most apps, software, and even to some extent AI systems. So I got started using. So there's a sort of a type of software, a type of sort of a whole bunch of different tools that are sort of loosely branded no-code tools. So the idea is that they help people who don't know how to write programming languages, so don't know how to code, to still be able to build software, websites. If you ever set up, like if you've used WordPress or Wix or Squarespace for your website, it's the same idea. Like you can drag and drop stuff, things are pre-built, you can just customize bits, but for software for apps. So I got started using those, and again, it was just sort of lucky timing that they were all also really excited about AI. So they all started building in AI capabilities to the tools that I'd already started using. So I got started with no code, started learning more about traditional programming and things like conditional logic, databases, how things work behind the scenes. And then I went quite nerdy with it. So last year, at the end of last year, I did one of the the government skills boot camps. So the government funds these boot camps that help people who want to retrain or upskill in different areas. A lot of it's around technology. So I went and did at Gateshead College, an 8-week boot camp learning how to program AI models and machine learning. So learn a bit more of like the code and kind of some more of the technical side of things. But it's just been kind of slow and steady, quite, I say, nerdy hobby. I'm just like very grateful that it also now seems to be something that I can do as a job, which is lovely.
You see, I thought when you built an app, it was like it would cost you loads to kind of launch it and upkeep of it and all of that. So pretty much, are you kind of saying that anyone can kind of do this? They've got that kind of like logic to kind of learn along the way.
Yeah, so like some of these tools make it really easy, and now it's even easier because there are tools out there, platforms out there that like you would type into ChatGPT to get a recipe, you can type into them and they spit out an app or a website or a piece of software. So that they're not that robust yet, but we're not realistically not that far off that. So it's easier and easier for people to build their own apps and software. And I think this is where I get really excited, because when you take people who have like real expertise in real niche areas, and then you give them the ability to turn that into something online and something digital and something kind of like a piece of software, that's way better than when you've got someone who's 21 and studied computer science and goes to an elite Ivy League school in the States and decides they're going to be a founder and an entrepreneur, and they go and try and figure out a thing to build. It's much better if you get someone who already understands the problem and then give them the ability to go and do something about it. So it's a very exciting time, I think, in terms of who you no longer need thousands and thousands of pounds, and you no longer need a computer science degree to get to do this.
See, we know what Angela's doing tonight. You're going to get working on being the next tech multi-millionaire, aren't you? Billionaire.
Listen, you took the words right out of my mouth, Hayley, because I tell you what, you're going to do a perfume one, right? And I am going to do a massage one.
Right, let's get on it.
I want to make you millions.
I teach I've got a workshop that I deliver quite often for programs helping people start businesses, where I take people through from scratch to build an AI app in 3 hours. So it's a build along. Everybody has their laptop and everyone follows along step by step. Like in every workshop, there's always a moment where I see the light bulb moment for people. And it was at the end of last year, I did one it was a program to support women founders, women entrepreneurs. There was 35 women business owners in the room, all for the first time learning to build AI-powered apps. And there was this one moment where this woman looked up and just she said to me, she was like, "Do you think my husband would mind if I cancelled our dinner plans tonight? Because now I can see how I'm going to make my idea a reality." And I was like, yes, that's such an amazing moment to get to be a part of it. She had this idea, she'd been working on it for ages, and all of a sudden she realized that she had this like the power, she had the ability, she had the skills to go and figure out. It might not be the final version, it might not be perfect, but she could at least get herself 90% of the way there. And it's always such a lovely moment when I see that, like the light, the penny drop, or the light in someone's eyes go on, where they go, oh, actually, I can do this myself. So like it's always great to see. And it is, like I say, I think it's a very exciting time for software development.
Yeah, because it sounds like, because I mean, the reason why I ended up loving fragrance so much is because it's a really nice blend of creativity, but science as well. And it's like a bit like that with AI, isn't it? It's like you can have this creative idea but then you can use the tech to support it and create it and bring it to life. And it's like a really lovely blend of the two things where they can support each other and you can create these wonderful things. So it's exciting thinking about like what things are going to be made and to come in the future.
I tell you what, Hayley, we're going to get our heads together, right? And we're going to do an aromatherapy one with your nose and my knowledge as well. World's our oyster, Hayley.
We'll add it to my list.
That is definitely one of the challenges. This when so much is possible, it's like ooh, shiny object over here, shiny object over there. So trying to stay focused can definitely be a challenge.
Yeah, we've definitely got that. I'm like, oh, what's that? Oh, what's that over there? Oh, I've got this idea. Let's do this. It's like, oh God, Hayley, stop it.
Well, I decided to embrace that side of me. That's why the agency's called Idea Junkies, because I've always been accused of being an idea junkie, having shiny object syndrome, like being a magpie. So I decided to sort of like a bit of like a FU to people and go, right, this is exactly who I am. This is exactly what I do. And now I help other people do it as well.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, exactly. I think just embrace it, because that's kind of what I've done, is that I left corporate and now like I do lots of different things. Like I'm not just one person doing one type of thing. Like I've got lots of different aspects of Hayley and different things that I like. So I'm just like, I split my time, and I go a little bit crazy sometimes. I'm just like, oh, like what do I do next? But I thrive off that. And it's like, I think being able to, it's nice, isn't it? Because I think when, I'm going to start going a little bit deep here, but when I was younger, it was very much like, go to school, get your GCSEs, get your A levels, go to university, get yourself a stable job, and then that's it. And then you're sorted for life. Get married, have kids, and then you're done. But like for me, I never kind of wanted that. It's like, yes, I wanted a good job, but I wanted that element of being able to create and explore and do different things and not be stuck and pigeonholed into one area. And I think just having the flexibility and having things like AI out there to just, I suppose, as a tool to help you do those things, I think it's just fascinating. And I'm excited for what, I'm trying to think of all the things I could do.
Yeah. And I think like there's never realistically, like there's a whole generation of us, right, that we were brought up with this idea that we would follow in, like, with the experiences our parents had, get a job, you do it for life. And actually we've seen entire industries being decimated. We've seen like industries that have been thriving one year have absolutely no work the next, and AI is going to have an impact. There are going to be millions and millions of jobs that are quite literally made redundant because AI is going to replace some of them. We probably will never have a job for life again. So I think it's a very, like you say, there is so much. We have this opportunity to do the things that are interesting to us, and we have the opportunity to build careers that adapt to us rather than us having to constantly adapt to our careers. And I think with AI, it is exactly that. It is a tool. Yes, it's fun, a sort of big fundamental shift, but it is still just a tool. And actually, if we, as on an individual basis, if we can figure out how to use that to power the thing we want to do, that's really exciting. Like, you no longer need permission, you no longer need big budgets. Like, there's so much that you can do from a laptop, from your kitchen table, and still get it out in the world, and still have that be the thing that fuels your life. It's really exciting.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, me and Angela will be definitely on the text after this, like, thinking about this.
Development.
So Laura, what's AI like in the Northeast? Like, obviously when You think of big tech companies and things like that, you think of the obvious ones. What's it like when it comes to AI tech in Newcastle and the surrounding areas? Is there like a thriving environment for that?
So there are some amazing initiatives, and we've obviously got things like the National Innovation Centre for Data in the Northeast, which is big, well-funded, government-backed institution. There are some brilliant AI companies that are homegrown and being built here in the Northeast. So there is a lot of amazing work going on, very, very sort of intelligent, very, very clever people doing very, very clever things. But, and this is one of the things that really kind of drives me, we are at the bottom of the sort of the AI league tables when it comes to the UK regions. So if you look at, so Tech Nation just released a report a couple of weeks ago looking at the state of AI in the UK and the number of AI unicorns. So a unicorn is a company that's got a particular valuation, valued at £1 billion or more. And they used a phrase called a soonicorn. So like a company that would soon have that valuation. London clearly has the greatest like proportion of them. The Northeast has none. Like no companies worth that in AI. We're saying we have companies that are worth a lot of money in other sectors, but no AI companies that were identified in this report, and no companies that are apparently on that path or close to receiving one of those sort of really, really big, shiny, headline-grabbing valuations. So there's still more to be done. There's a lot in terms of kind of UK government policy that is very exciting. Like our government is very, very sort of bullish on AI. It wants the UK to be this AI sort of global power. And there are regional opportunities within that. We have some. The Northeast is going to have a big data centre, for example, and then there may be other opportunities that come up. But right now, it does worry me that actually, as a region, we might miss out on some of these opportunities. We might not get the investment that will go to other places. The companies that are being started here might not have access to the capital they need to grow. We've got 5 incredible universities. We've got talented people, talented students and graduates, but we need opportunities that are going to keep them in the region. Like it would be great to see some of those be homegrown, Northeast-based, Northeast-owned companies. But yeah, I think there's still more work to be done at a sort of a regional policy, government, local authority type level to make sure that the Northeast does get access to those opportunities that are coming up. So yes, there's like I say, it's kind of, yes, there's some amazing things going on and it's very exciting, and there's some brilliant companies that I think over the next like longer term are going to grow into really kind of sort of recognizable names. But we are not where other regions are. We are not where I know I would like to see us have more billion-dollar companies that are based here and know that people have access to those jobs, and that they're not support roles, they're not customer service roles that might get outsourced to AI eventually, that they're actually really interesting, high power, high knowledge based, influential type jobs that are more likely to be safe long term.
Do you think part of that, what you've just said there, Laura, do you think a lot of it's kind of fear around AI, or do you think it's just the funding, or a lot of it's maybe it's due to the fear of AI and how it's going to kind of evolve, maybe?
So I think it's probably a mix of a few things. So we have areas in the Northeast that still have low digital literacy, low digital access. Parts of Northumberland still don't have access to the type of broadband, like super fast broadband that you'd need to be able to benefit from things. At the risk of sounding like I am criticising those that sort of are our political leaders in the region, up until very recently, we've had a lot of sort of fractured local and regional politics. That is not great. If you are bidding for national competitions for funding, for opportunities, the big one with AI is going to be AI growth zones. If we're going to win one of these opportunities, that's going to need a coordinated, joined up effort. And yes, it's great. So we now have in the north of the Northeast. So we've now got one regional mayor for the north of the Northeast and one for the Teesside area. That's great. But even recently, sort of within the last 12 months, there have been big pots of national funding, big kind of schemes nationally that consortiums have been able to bid in for. And there's been like multiple bids from the Northeast going in for some of these things, where actually we would have possibly been better served to have had a bit more collaboration and a little bit less competition. And so I think for me, that's one of the potential biggest barriers, is this idea of like the sort of the decision-making networks in the region. Are they working together for the sort of the bigger goal of making sure that as a region, the whole of the Northeast benefits and the whole of the Northeast actually gets to kind of leap ahead because of AI and because of the opportunities and the funding available? I think, yeah, absolutely. There's then this sort of catch-22. We have amazing graduates. We've got 5 universities in quite a small geographical area. But if we don't have enough companies with enough interesting jobs to employ them, they all end up going to London or Manchester, and then we suddenly don't have the talent to support the growth of companies that then need them at a later stage. So there's some quite big complex challenges. But for me, the big one is making sure that we've got one voice, one regional agenda that is representing the Northeast when these opportunities come up.
Yeah, I think you say it sounds really complex, but I mean, like you say, the good thing is that at least there's people working on things, and we're going to be hopefully moving towards a better future in that respect. If there's anyone kind of that's interested in AI or they've got an idea, like where should they start?
Yeah, so I suppose I should probably plug my sort of stuff. Follow me on LinkedIn. I talk about AI all the time. I've got courses that are going to be coming up, like I do training and things like that. So I really want to make sure that AI feels accessible to people that maybe are sitting there thinking, I'm not technical. Like this is, I can't even figure out how to get Siri to do what I want Siri to do on my phone, right? Like I think AI is for everyone, and it needs to be for everyone. If you've got an idea, there's so many amazing support organisations across the region. So depending on where you are, you've got like Sunderland Software City, you've got TEDCO, you've got the BIC over in Sunderland. There's lots of places where you can go to get support from advisors that can kind of help you figure out how to get started. So again, if anyone wants more like specifics, drop me a DM on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to point you in the direction of like who's doing what. So I think that's a great place. There's a website called the Northeast Support Directory, which is great, also AI powered, but that's got loads and loads of like basically an updated list of resources, so of programs, of grants that can help you get started with either learning about AI or building stuff with AI. So that's always worth checking out. And again, I can send you the links if you want to. I don't know if you include things like that in the show notes, but that's a really great kind of resource if you have no idea where to start, because it literally sends you like an email every week about this is what's going on in the region. So yeah, so there is a lot of support out there. Often it depends on, as with a lot of sort of public funded stuff, what postcode. What your postcode is determines which organisation can support you. But there is a lot going on, and a lot of support available that is free to us as individuals.
Fabulous, thank you. Yeah, and I'll put any links that you've got, I'll drop those in the show notes so people can check those out. But yes, that was very, like you say, it's one of those conversations that I think you can either go one way or the other, and it's like you can either be terrified or thinking, oh my God, there's so much possibility, like what's going to happen and like where we're going to go, or you can be really inspired by it. Because the one word that keeps coming up for me is using it as a tool, and it's not supposed to replace, it's not supposed to take over, it's there for us to use and to fuel and make things better, make things more refined, and give opportunities to people that perhaps don't necessarily have them. And I think that's what's really interesting about it. And it's good to know that we've got someone in the region like you kind of championing it and trying to push it as well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, what's really nice is that there's actually there's quite a few women in the Northeast that are talking about AI and are championing this kind of people first, responsible AI use. And that's, for me, that's great to see, because like I say, we need diverse perspectives. We need it not to be the same kind of I don't want to stereotype, but that kind of pale, male and stale. You just have to look at the kind of the headlines in the States, and you look at that lineup of tech advisors that are involved with the White House, and it is terrifying because it's so homogenized, and there's a lot of power concentrated within the hands of a very few people in a very few a very select type of people. We need more voices. We need people to get involved, because that's how we shape as users. That's how we can shape. We can push back. We can challenge. We can demand for these platforms, these AI developers, these companies to make sure that they're building in the safeguards that we want to see, the sort of the responsibility that the uses that we want. So it is important that, like, I think it is important that we do figure it out and like make sure that we're educating ourselves, because otherwise it's one of those things that's going to happen. It's going to happen to us rather than to be developed with us. I think that's what scares. I think there's a lot of opportunity with AI. It's very exciting, but what scares me is the idea that actually we have a future that has been shaped by a very, very small group of already powerful people. That is a terrifying thought. So how do we get more people involved? How do we get more people understanding how AI works, so that they can, like I say, they can demand that responsible AI from the companies that are building it? And how do we make sure that as a region, our businesses, our schools, our organizations, our institutions don't get left behind? Because actually there's a real opportunity here.
Should we go on to the quickfire, Hayley?
Yeah, let's do quickfire. Do you want to go first, Angela?
Let's have a look. One place every visitor should go to see the real Northeast.
St. Mary's Lighthouse on a bitterly cold winter's day.
That's true.
You get a sunny day in August, and the beaches are flooded with people. Like, people travel from all over.
Yeah.
I've been on that beach when it's been snowing on New Year's Eve, like for every year growing up as a kid, and that's where you get to, like, the real Northeast.
Yeah, there was one time we visited home, and I took I think they were probably about 7 and 5 at the time, and we took them to Druridge Bay, and it was all right when we got there. And then we got into the beach, and you just saw these massive grey clouds rolling in, and we're like, oh, I'll be fine. It's not a problem. And then the most torrential rain came down. My kids were crying. They were like, Mummy, why have you brought us here? And I'm like, what? This is brilliant. This is what being in the Northeast is about.
Just don't take a coat. I think all Geordie lasses, don't take a coat.
Well, as a kid, when we were at the beach as a kid and it started raining, my folks used to be like, well, go and get in the water then. Like, you're wet already. Like, it doesn't matter if it's raining, just get in the sea. So yeah, I think the proper Geordies are like a maid on a wet beach.
Well, yeah, if we didn't enjoy ourselves when it rained, we'd just be miserable in the house constantly, wouldn't we? We're like, we've got to embrace it. Right, the next one. Best person to come out of the Northeast.
Ooh.
It's quite a hard one, I think, because we've got some crackers.
Yeah. Like, all I can think is like the big celebrities, and like that's not that exciting. Northeast. Can we come back to that? This is not very quick for a quick fire round. Might have to come back to that one. I'm now stuck on Ant and Dec.
We'll come back to that one. Go on, Angela.
Not my actual answer. Yeah.
Oh, well, this one's not highlighted on my list, but I'm going to ask it anyway since you've just nearly answered it. Ant or Dec?
Dec.
Do you know which one it is, though, or are you just saying it?
I'm very lucky. I worked with them a couple of times in the early parts of my career, so I've kind of remembered which name goes with which face.
Oh, well, there you go.
There we go.
My little girl, she used to think that Ant was Dec because she thought he was called Ant because he was so small.
Every time I see them, I just think of that scene in Love Actually where he's like, "That's right, Ant or Dec." I'm like, oh, imagine if that's like you can't be separated from your double act persona.
What are they like, Laura? Are they nice?
You know what? Yeah, they were obviously, it was a professional setting, but amazing to work with. Like, very professional and like hit their marks. No one had to wait around. But yeah, very like consummate professionals.
Yeah, they just seem like really nice lads as well, don't they?
Yeah, they were. It was I used to work on Celebrity Juice, so it was for it was a very, very weird show, but yeah.
I love Celebrity Juice.
I used to love it.
Yeah,
I'm going to watch reruns of that now.
So what did you do on Celebrity June?
I was a production coordinator, so all the logistics, like kind of behind the scenes. So lots of probably the least exciting part of kind of TV production. I booked a lot of taxis. I checked a lot of menu choices, and just sort of kind of running orders and making sure that people knew where to be on what days, and we had the right equipment, and that things like some weird stuff like checking whether or not Vern Troyer had any allergies because we wanted him to be hit in the face with a squirty cream pie, like 1,000 tins of baked beans to fill a bath with baked beans for some stunt, like some very weird stuff, but also some very, very boring bits.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. That sounds like a really exciting job. There's 1,000,001 questions in my mind. I just can't answer. I'm going to run out of time.
Right, next one is, what's your favourite local dish?
Egg mayo stotty from Greg's.
Love them.
Yeah.
I used to love them when I was little.
Yeah. I like childhood favourite, egg mayo stotty from Greg's.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need to say much more. We get it. Yeah.
And you genuinely can't get them, even in a Greg's. Like, you can't get them outside the region. Like, they're obviously such a northeast thing.
This is my problem, Laura, because I live in West Yorkshire now, and it really upsets me. I kind of get a stotty. So whenever I go home, I'm getting a stotty, and I'm getting me mince pie, because you kind of get them down here, and it's very upsetting.
I'll post them up to you. We're going to get a sponsorship from Greg, so you're all right. We'll have get loads.
Aspirations.
Laura, can you make that work? Can you make that into an app? Right, next one. What does Geordie Pride mean to you in 3 words?
So community. We've got a very strong community, and we're proud of it in the northeast. These are horrible. I'm so not good on the spot. I'm trying to think of one word that sums up like not taking yourself too seriously. And that's not 3 words. Community, humour, grit.
Grit. I like those. Community, humour, and grit. Yeah, I think that sums us up pretty well.
Good choice, Laura. Good choice.
So the last one we had, I think you've already answered it, which is what's your go-to Greg's order? But egg mayo sandwich it is.
Yeah, I think you should be sending this episode to Greg's. Get yourself
100%. Should we come back to your one that you were struggling with? Have you thought with anyone yet?
I don't want to just give you like some. Like I say, I don't want to just give a name, because there's like this. Obviously, got great like comedians and sports people and actors and whatnot. I hope this might be a substitute answer. What's really nice is that we've got most of the big names that have come out of the region. What's amazing is that most of them also are giving back. Like, they all are championing causes, and actually they all take very few of them just go and like just be a celebrity and just enjoy this kind of big fame, like life of fame. And they all still do kind of come back and champion their local schools and local causes, and so that's always got a lot of great people coming out in the northeast.
It's true. Yeah.
I had one person. I can never go on like a pointless style game show, I know loads of great people, and I cannot think of a single name. Chris Ramsey or his wife, I don't know.
I love them.
I'm gonna have to phone it in again.
We'll go Chris and Rosie.
Just go, you're gonna wake up in the middle of the night and go,
I'm like, this person's done amazing things. Game show brain moment. So could not tell you a single person.
Done better than me. Like, if I was put on the spot with that, I'd probably say someone who was from like London or Liverpool or something.
We have some very genuinely inspirational sort of public figures that have come from the northeast. So just picking one is very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true what you say. Like, I think me and Angela were talking about this the other day, and it was saying that like northeast people in the public eye are genuinely quite likable. Like, they always seem to come off as like just really down to earth, genuine people, and it makes me quite proud of being from the Northeast, because I mean, obviously you're gonna have knobs. There's always knobs everywhere, but it's like just as a whole, like the people in the public eye that are from the Northeast tend to be tiny folk, as Angela says. So before we go, Laura, is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners? Any upcoming projects or events that you've got going on?
Yeah, so I've got my very first course is going to be coming online very, very shortly. So it is a sort of a 0 to hero, become a ChatGPT super user. So it takes you right from, you don't even have to have tried the free version, take you through everything from how to get set up, how to make sure you're using it safely so that you keep all your data like secure, you're not giving away anything that you don't want to give away, and then how to use it, all of its advanced settings to automate things and to help with research and business and a whole bunch of other stuff that you can do with it, which is really cool. So that's coming out. It should be in next. Where are we now? In the next month, that'll be going live. So if people are interested, the best place to find me is on LinkedIn, where I literally talk all the time about AI.
Fabulous, and we'll include all those links in the show notes as well.
Thank you.
Is there anywhere else that people can follow you, or is LinkedIn the place to go?
Yeah, it's LinkedIn. I'm not a big social media user, but LinkedIn it's still got nice community vibes on there. So I spend quite a bit of time sort of, let's say, talking about AI and sharing stuff I found and trying to answer questions on there. So
fabulous. And me and Angela will probably sign up to your course now. We'll get more ideas.
I'm not joking. Probably will.
It's amazing that with just one subscription, the breadth of things that you can do with ChatGPT beyond just get it to write a social media post or tell you what to have for dinner. It's incredible. Like, it's such a powerful tool, and if you know how to use it, like use all the different features, it can save hours and hours a week. So yeah, this is step one, and then hopefully be able to sort of put on more training and stuff in the future as well.
Fabulous. I look forward to seeing it. Lovely. So thank you so much, Laura. It's been great chatting with you. Thank you for spending your evening with me and Angela.
Thanks for having me.
Really
And
appreciate
for letting me nerd out about AI. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, well, we're big geeks too, so yeah, we're embracing it. Thanks so much for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support Geordie Pride further, then don't forget to subscribe, share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from us, you can follow us on Instagram @Geordie Pride. Until next time, keep that Geordie Pride shining bright.